Welcome back to the Tool Crib. Today we're going to be talking about the Leatherman Squirt PS4. Now this is a keychain plier based multi-tool from Leatherman. It's a very small package, very lightweight. There's some things about it that I like. There's a couple of things that I would like to see changed because I think it would suit the multi-tool a little bit better. We'll talk about those as well. We're going to get into the specs first, and then we're going to walk through the 9 different functions that this multi-tool has to offer. And then we're going to talk about some of the attributes, why I think it's good, and then we'll get into some of those criticisms. Let's get started. The first tool that we're going to look at with the Squirt PS4 is going to be the main tool, and that's going to be the pliers. Now they are spring-loaded, which most of your keychain multi-tools are going to be spring-loaded, and the spring mechanism works fairly well on them. It comes with needle nose, and they come down to a pretty decent point. I kind of like those pliers, the needle nose on those. Now you'll notice that on the main pliers here, they're a little different than what you're going to find in other pliers, and they come down into like a triangular pattern as opposed to that more rounded pattern. I don't know why they do that exactly. Maybe it's to add, to keep a little bit of strength in there, but it's a little bit different. And then we have wire cutters. Now the wire cutters, they're okay, they're not exceptional. So here I have some zip tie material, and it handles zip tie material really well. Just pop it right off there, and we got it going all over the place. But I've got some 14 gauge wire here, and this is what they should be designed for. So let's take a look at it. Gets through it, and it has a little bit, it's hard to tell, it has a little bit of distortion there when you're cutting through, and it left that one wire hanging. So they're not exceptional. They're not bad for what they are, but they're not exceptional, and there is a little bit of flex to them. Now I will say that comparable models, or some of the competition to this plier based little keychain multi-tools, these pliers actually, the cutters actually function better than some of the competition. And because Leatherman is known for their quality, and they are quality, they're just too small to be used for any kind of really hard work. Now I haven't tried them lately on lighter gauge, and I'm sure they would cut even better. 14 gauge is a little thick for them, but if you were cutting 16, 18 gauge, I'm sure they would zip right through it. Now we'll get it closed up and look at the next tool. First one we want to look at is the knife blade. And Leatherman actually puts 428C in these little knife blades, which is kind of nice. Now it's going to be chisel ground, which is a detractor for some people. For me personally, I don't mind, because I see this blade as more of a secondary blade and not something that you're going to be using all the time. So chisel ground, 1.5 inches long, or about 38 millimeters, and 428C. The next tool over is the file. Now the file on this actually I think it's a nice little file for this multi-tool. So it has a single cut, edge file, and cross cut combination wood metal file. Now the reason I think it's okay on these little ones is because they're such a small frame multi-tool, and you can really get down and do some pretty precise filing on whatever you need to. Now in larger multi-tools where they incorporate small short files, the frame is kind of, you just can't get a lot done with them, and that's more due not necessarily for the file, but for the frame of the multi-tool itself kind of hinders your ability to really work well with it. And then on the other side we have a set of scissors. Now it's nice that they have scissors in here, and let me grab a little piece of paper here. So they do well on cutting through paper, no problem at all, and they're really sharp, and they really do a good job. So if you're using them to cut paper or thread or something, then they're going to do fine. But they are too small to really do anything bigger than that. Here I have a bit of paracord, and we're going to try to cut through there, and they're just not great. They do okay, and that actually cut better than it has in the past. Because I had some pressure on it, but they do okay. So maybe I'm too critical of the scissors, but because of their size, they're just not going to be conducive to handling larger tasks. And they are spring loaded though, so, and they do have a nice thumb rest there, just like on the ES4. Now the last two tools are going to be, oh, wrong side. Our last two tools are going to be our drivers. Now, the first one on the left is going to be our 2D Phillips driver. So it's going to work okay for battery compartments on toys or tools, you know, that house batteries. It's going to do fine for that. But anything major, I mean, you have to look at the size of the multi-tool. This is not designed for heavy-duty use, obviously, but for those light tasks, it's going to do fine. Also works as a little micro flat driver as well. On the other side, we have a 3/16 flat driver that incorporates the bottle cap lifter there. Now, normally I'm not a fan of bottle cap lifters on every single multi-tool, but the way they incorporate this, it doesn't take up any tool slot, so I'm okay with it. I like if they could put it in there, why not? Now, it also works as a really light duty pry tool, like, you know, you're going to find with most screwdrivers. So this will do fine for opening up, you know, the occasional stain can or paint can. It'll do fine for that. The things that I like about the PS4, well, first of all, I think the pliers are pretty good, and I really like the fact that they're spring loaded. The cutters, not exceptional, but all things considered, they're not bad either. So you can get some stuff done with them, and they're pretty precise. So that's a good feature. I actually, even though the scissors are really lightweight, I actually like the scissors on here. We're not accustomed to this one. So the scissors, while not superb, they do a good job. I also like the little knife blade on here because I think it's a pretty, you know, it comes out super sharp from the factory, and it's going to be easy to strap right back up. So I don't mind it either. The file is pretty good, but in this multi-tool, and I don't know why I feel this way, but I think that the file should come out. I think this multi-tool would be better adept to a little package opener there instead of a file. I see the ES4 as more of a little electrical working tool, and so you have the need for a file on it on more occasion than you will on the PS4. So I kind of see this as your EDC, you know, little lightweight EDC that you need to just get little tasks done. And one of those little tasks is the ability to open up packages. And I think that would be fantastic on here as opposed to that file. The drivers I don't really have a problem with because some people are not going to carry this with an additional multi-tool. Personally, I see this as a supplement to a regular multi-tool. But you know, it's pretty decent little multi-tool. Now, if you're carrying the bottom of the pocket, one thing to keep in mind is that lint will oftentimes clog the spring mechanism in there, and so you'll have to clean it out. I carry the ES4 at work, and I've taken to carrying it in my change pocket as opposed to the bottom of my regular pocket of my jeans because I was cleaning out too much, and then when I go to use it, the spring back mechanism just wouldn't work properly until I did clean it out correctly, and so I just eliminated that problem or lessened that problem by carrying it in my change pocket. Now, that's one consideration with with all pocket multi-tools or keychain multi-tools especially. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Overall, I like the Squirt PS4. Do I recommend it for its price at $35? It's a little expensive for me for what it is. I don't mind it in the ES4. I don't mind it if they had continued the Squirt line and made an S4 or a continuation of the S4, because then you would have a really robust pair of scissors. In the PS4, I don't see the need for my personal needs for the little light duty pliers. So I think this multi-tool is a little on the high side. I would really like to see this for its retail price of about 25 to 30. Now, you can oftentimes pick this up for that price, but it would be nice if the retail price were down at that point, so then you could pick it up on sale for, you know, $25 as opposed to 25 or 30. I think it's a little bit expensive for what it is. I actually, in plier-based multi-tool, I tend to recommend other multi-tools as opposed to the Squirt PS4. Now, it does come with Leatherman quality, so if you kind of want to stick with Leatherman, then it is a good option. I'm not trying to say that it's a bad little keychain tool. I think it's an okay keychain tool. There's just features on some other plier-based multi-tools in the keychain size that I kind of tend to like a little bit better for their functionality. That all things considered, though, the Squirt PS4 is a decent multi-tool, and I would tend to recommend it more if it were cheaper. At any rate, my little review of the Squirt PS4. If you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one.